Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's professional development session on backing up and moving your Canvas course to the next semester. um, Obviously, it's getting to be that time of the semester, and those of you who are teaching in the summer are just about to face this task, and those who are teaching next in the fall will still have this on your mind. I'm Dave Giberson. I'm an old instructional design coordinator from Online Learning Pathways, and they've retreaded me to offer these professional development seminars every week. And it's great to see you all here today. A good turnout for a Monday afternoon. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you probably want to do before proceeding to the next semester is to back up your course. This is sort of under the heading of an abundance of caution, because Canvas is an extremely reliable system. And the next time we lose data from a Canvas course without someone deliberately deleting it, and of course, whether it's a course that's running or a course that's been taught 5 years ago on Canvas, the next time we lose something will be the first time. It just doesn't happen. Canvas is a cloud-based system. Everything is stored redundantly all over the world. The backups are multiply redundant. They run continuously, basically. The chances of you ever losing an old course shell and or student or student data therefrom is vanishingly small, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Somebody might go into your course. You and we are the only ones who have access to your old courses, but something could happen. You could think you were in the wrong shell and delete something that you needed. So it's a good idea to back these things up. And of course, the grades are the most critical element of the course. You can back those up separately in one process, and then you can back up the content. Content backup is really unlikely to be necessary, but it's so simple and quick to do that there's no reason not to take the extra precaution. So let's see how you can do that. Do both of those. I'm going to use just a sample course here that has some data in it. One that is, and I'm going to pick one that doesn't have any actual student data in it so that it's not confidential, since we are recording this, and the recording will be publicly available. Here's an old sandbox course, an old demo course that I've been using for years. And there are grades in here, though not of real people for the most part.
Could you screen share it, Dave?
What I am doing is using my video feed. Thank you for reminding me to say something. I am using my video feed, and as a result, you're going to want to be in speaker view to see.
Oh, gotcha.
So if you just go to the view button in the upper right-hand corner and select speaker, then you'll be able to see this. Yeah, I know. I was probably in a little bitty square, right? Among many others. But thank you for bringing it up, because you weren't the only one who had that question. And in all of my sessions, I try to remember, unsuccessfully this time, to remind everybody to go into speaker view so they can see, because that's, in order for me to put myself over top of the screen and do some other tricks I'll use later on, I need to do it this way.
Gotcha.
And we offer a seminar on how to do this in another venue. But here we have some odds and ends of grades. To back up the gradebook, we go to the Actions link here at the top of the gradebook display, and we export the gradebook. This is an automatic process. It starts and it finishes usually within a few seconds. And then a file manager window pops up. Well, actually, one of two things will happen depending on how you have your web browser set up. Either this will automatically save to your download folder and not tell you that it's doing that. So that's where you'd look for it in downloads here on a Windows machine. There's a comparable folder on the Finder on the Mac. Or if you have told your web browser to ask where to save it, which is a good idea, or where to have it ask you where to save downloaded files from the internet, it will pop up a file manager window like this. It will show you the file name of the export file, of the gradebook export. And it will ask you where to put it. Basically, that's what it's doing to me now. So I keep a folder in my downloads area called Zoom Grade. Let's see if I can find it. It just gets bigger every day. Let's see. Let's sort by name and see what that does.
Is there an easy way to tell it, I have a Mac. Is there an easy way to tell it, to make sure it asks you where to save the download?
Yes, and that varies from web browser to web browser. I can show you how to do it in Chrome. Just a sec, and I will. I don't see that here, so I'm going to have to make a folder. I'll call this Zoom Canvas grades. Good as any. Open that. And this file name here tells us when the backup was made. Down here in the lower left, it tells us it's a grades backup, and it tells us what course it was made from. ISCD3 is the so-called course code for this course, and those are more mnemonic in actual courses. So you will see your course name here. And it tells us it's a comma separated value file, a CSV file, which is an Excel type file, a spreadsheet type file. So if I save this, it's a small file, it's all text. Doesn't take long for it to come down. If I double click that and open it, this is what it looks like. I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. Came up on another screen. Microsoft and I are having a disagreement about whether my Microsoft Office is registered or not. But here it is. Here you have the student names and all of your grades. Indeed, everything that's in the gradebook in Canvas. So you can put that on a thumb drive or on a folder on an external hard drive or on your main hard drive. Just make sure you back up your own machine. These grades are probably safer on Canvas than they are on my computer, but this does give you control over these grades. And if you put them in a folder where you can find them quickly, you can always pull this up if you ever need to look at a student grade and maybe your internet's down or something like that. If this is on your local computer, you have local access to these grades. All unlikely, but it's so simple to do that there's no reason not to back up your grades. Never know when it might save your good name or your peace of mind. Thelma, yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Actually, it just came out. I dropped one of my students because she wasn't meeting the competencies. But anyway, she's asking me to see her grades, but I don't see her again now in the Canvas, in the People tab. So how can I check back or show her?
Right. There is an option. Let's see if I can remember where it is. Let's see.
I think the one that you selected, one says grade book history.
No, I don't
No?
think there is an option to show completed students who have been removed, who
Yeah.
were in the course at some point, but have been removed. Gradebook history just shows your grading history, when you graded different assignments,
Oh, okay.
and if you have a grader, who did it, and things like that.
Okay.
But where is that? Let's see. No, that's not it. I could have sworn it was under view.
Maybe like when you click status, maybe the ones that say.
No, that's those are ones those are status
Oh.
indicators for the students who are still there.
Mm.
There we go. It's under the student. It's on the student name.
Uh-huh.
If you mouse over the column header for student names, you get a menu button.
Uh-huh.
You click there, you can get both inactive and concluded enrollments.
Oh, okay.
And those will bring those students' grades back.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, good question. All right. So what about backing up the course content in a course? Well, that's also quite simple. And again, very unlikely that your course content would ever get lost unless you just got, you've been up all day, you're tired, you go into a course and you're in the wrong course. You don't realize where you are and you delete the content of that course. And maybe that's the only place you've got that content. There are scenarios where this could happen, and even unlikely things come to pass if you wait long enough and you deal with enough different courses. So it's worth knowing how to do this. So we'll go to our course menu here in the course, and your content backup is done, come on, from the settings link in your course menu. The last one normally. And I need to blow this up just a little bit, make it a little bigger so you can see the task menu. Oops, I need to actually make it smaller. There we go. Normally you'll see a so-called task menu over here on the right on the settings page. And there are a number of useful things in there. We'll be in here again shortly. But one of the things that we need right now is export course content. This is how, this is the link that allows you to export your course content into a file that you can download onto your computer. And then if necessary, at some point in the future, you can upload that into a blank course shell and get all of your course content back. To export course content, I just click that link. And the export process starts. You get a little progress bar here. It may or may not run smoothly, but it will tell you when your export is done.
And Dave, will that save, videos, quizzes, assignments?
Everything except student enrollment data and student submissions.
Okay.
All of your content is saved. And apparently I've gotten a huge file in there or something like that.
When you export,
Dave,
sorry.
did you? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
When you clicked export course content, is this what you saw right there, what you're showing us?
Yes. Mhm.
So you just go to the bottom to see when it's finished?
See when it's finished. Let's try this on another course. This is taking a while,
Yeah.
and I don't want us to have to wait for it. We'll go back to the
Dave,
dash.
I noticed it said 30 after 30 days. Did it switch from 500 days to 30 days?
Yeah, apparently.
Ooh,
I just
okay.
noticed that myself. But
Yeah.
that's not a problem as long as you download the export when you make it. Let's try this course, which should have considerably less content in it. I'll go to, again, to do that, there's nothing like repeating it. Settings, export course content. And here, as it should, it's asking me for export type. I'm not sure why it didn't do it on that other course. Whether I want to export the content of the entire course or just quizzes. Those are the two options they give you. I don't know why those are the only two, but normally what you want is the course, the entire course, and that's selected. And then you just click Create Export. Then we get this progress bar, and this is more like what I expect, because these are small files generally. And it says the content has been exported, and I see a link here labeled New Export. That's from whence I can download this export. I just click that link. And again, your web browser will either just automatically put it in your downloads folder, or it will ask you where to put it. In this case, I've got mine configured to ask. And again, I haven't forgotten that I'm going to show you how to do that.
Thank you.
And I've got a folder, I'm pretty sure, Canvas course exports, there we go, where I keep those. And this file tells me the name of the course. It doesn't tell me when it was done in the file name. So I'll just have to depend on the file creation date here in Windows. But I just save that file. Yeah, I've done this before. I'll replace that one. I could have changed the file name if I wanted to keep that old export. And that's it. It's now stored on my hard drive, and I can retrieve it at any time, and I can load it back into a blank shell later to get all of my course content back. So that's a nice, again, peace of mind. To ask your web browser to ask you where to save downloaded files from the internet in Chrome, which of course is available on both the PC and the Mac, and is the most commonly used web browser in the world. And everything is tested first on Chrome, so all sorts of things are likely to work better in Chrome than anything else. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a good, safe bet. In order to configure Chrome to ask me where to save downloaded files, I go to the Chrome configuration menus, which are in the far upper right-hand corner of the Chrome window, little 3 vertical dots there just to the right of my profile image if I'm logged into my Google account while using Chrome, or there might just be some initials here, or there might be nothing. There might just be a silhouette here. But this menu will be here in any case. And we'll go to Settings in the Chrome menu. And
excuse me, Dave, do we have
yes,
to be
please.
in Chrome? Do we have to be in Chrome?
No, I can't show you this in another web browser right now without interrupting what I'm doing. But I'm going to show you how to do this in Chrome. I'm just not, you can do this in other web browsers as well. And if you have a favorite and you'd like me to do you a little tutorial on how to do that, I'll be happy to. Just send me an email and I'll make you a little tutorial. Okay. And let's see. Oh gosh, this has changed. We go to advanced settings. You know you're in trouble when you have to go to advanced settings. And downloads. The downloads link under settings. It asks it, first thing it tells you is where it's going to put it if you don't choose. which is in my downloads folder, which is what we said. But there's also an option to ask where to save each file before downloading. And if you turn that on by clicking this little button here, blue is on, then Chrome will always ask you where to put the file. And I strongly recommend doing that if you're going to be downloading files from the internet regularly, which it's hard to avoid doing when you're using Canvas. All right, so that's how to do that in Chrome. Again, if you'd like to know in another web browser, just email me, and let me put my email address in the chat tool. I always try to do that anyway. You're welcome to email me at any time about anything that you think I might be able to help with. I can't. I'll let you know, and I'll try to find you somebody who can. All right, there's me. I'm Boris today. All right.
I don't see anything in the chat. Sorry.
Did I not send that to everyone? Yeah, I did.
I see it.
Oh, geez.
Here.
I see it now. Yeah.
Oh, good. Sometimes it takes it a second to update.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Keep asking away. Okie dokie. Bailey, yes.
I've got a quick question. It's kind of stupid, but
Now.
okay.
No, you know what I'm about to say. Go ahead.
Thank you. I've been teaching on Google, so this is like all new for me. What if you don't save it? What if you don't export it? What happens to the Canvas tile with all your content? Anything
Your
happens?
course remains on Canvas indefinitely. You'll always be able to access it. As I said earlier, we've never lost a course, ever. And we don't ever expect to. But something could happen. Unfortunately, probably due to human error.
I see. So we can expect to see it still there. I mean,
Absolutely.
the only thing that's removed is the student grades and their assignments.
They're there indefinitely. You can access it anytime you need to. If there's a grade challenge or whatever, you can always get back to that data.
Okay, but what if you want to repeat the course? So if I want to remove those assignments and the quiz responses, what do I need to do?
Well,
I
you'll
mean, does it?
never reuse that teaching shell. You'll get a new one every semester.
Oh, I see.
That old one will be untouched indefinitely. Unless you have the right to go in and delete something from it. But no one else will do that, I assure you.
Got you. So if I want to use everything the same, the content, the same quizzes for the next semester, could I just have it used again, and then I'll just have to remove the quizzes and assignments?
That's going to happen. I'm going to show you that in about 2 PowerPoint slides.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's a
Thank
very
you.
good, very good question. That is the next thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Dave,
Yes.
you might have just said what I'm going to ask and I wasn't paying attention, but I've got a course that starts the 31st and then it's going to run for 2 weeks and turn into the summer semester. So are you going to go over? It's no problem copying the course over to the next shell. It's bringing the grades over that I have issue with.
You can't bring the grades over.
Isn't that stupid though?
Correctly. Well, no, Canvas is designed not to allow that kind of activity because it could cause chaos when people are copying their courses.
Yeah.
So, but I can think of a way to do that. That's a little bit outside the scope of this course. I'm not going to have time to show you today, but send me an email.
But you can see why that's an issue, right?
I can see that in this case because of our scheduling.
Yeah.
So there is a workaround I can think of.
So send you an email with that
Send
question.
me an email. Yeah, I don't have time to deal with that right now.
Got it.
It's
I understand.
unusual process, but I can think of a way to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, we do need to move on.
Sorry,
ahead.
Dave, could I ask a
People
quick
with
one?
their hands right.
I tell you what, I got a feeling I'm probably going to answer most of these questions fairly soon. But if it's something that I've passed by, please let me know, okay? Let's see for a second, though, what's coming. Okay. You won't get your live teaching shells until about a month before the beginning of the term. This has to do with the way that PeopleSoft and Canvas talk to one another, and with some potentially deadly complications in PeopleSoft. So there's no way that you have to wait until you get your teaching shells, which are created automatically when you're assigned the course. Once you're assigned a course, you can count to teach. You can count on getting a Canvas shell for that course about a month before the beginning of the term. Whether you choose to use it or not. If you don't choose to use it, if it's a face-to-face course and you don't choose to use it to enhance your face-to-face course, you just ignore it, and it will not, and just don't publish it, and the students will never see anything. And some of them may nag you about, oh, we don't have a Canvas shell or something like that, but there's not going to be any other consequences. But very often you really need to work on a course, developing a course, well before a month before the beginning of the term. So we've come up with a process of providing you with development shells, which are shells that will never have students in them, untouched by human hands, and more importantly, can't be affected by course edits in PeopleSoft. The nightmare scenario, well, it's not a nightmare, but the inconvenient scenario can be that if you take your teaching shell that's actually going to get the students enrolled in it later and that you're going to use for the rest of the term, and build it up, put all your content in there, and you don't have that content anywhere else, if someone in the powers that be tier up in the sky says, oh, we need to change the CRN of that course, or we need to make some other change to that course record in PeopleSoft, then the next morning you wake up and you go into this shell you've been working in and it's blank. And all of your work has gone away. We can recover from that. We can get it back, but it's a fairly involved process for us, and only we as system administrators can do that. And one of these days, I know I'm going to have a faculty member is going to have a coronary when they wake up one morning and it looks like all their content is gone. So this is, by the way, not a feature, not a problem with Canvas. It's a problem with PeopleSoft, but it's unavoidable with the possibility can't be avoided with teaching shells in Canvas and that are being fed through people. So your teaching shells are created automatically via an integration process from PeopleSoft. And if any change is made to that PeopleSoft record, the shell is recreated from scratch and it becomes blank. So it's a very good idea to do your course development in development shells rather than in your live shells, your teaching shells. And then like a week or less before the beginning of the term, copy the content from your development shell into your teaching shell, process that takes 3 minutes. And I'm going to show you how to do it just to be sure you're comfortable with it. But you're just much safer in terms of your effort and your heart health to work in development shells until about a week before the beginning of the term. You can have development shells as many as you like, whenever you like, by requesting them through Canvas support. And they will make them for you. They will put them on your dashboard, and you will be able to start working in them anytime you're ready. You can go to the help menu in Canvas, as you see here on the PowerPoint slide, and you can either use the faculty support chat or the faculty support telephone hotline and request to just identify yourself as a faculty member at the San Diego Community College District and tell them you want a development shell for some course, for English 101. And they will make it for you, and you should have it in by the time you terminate the support call. So that, of course, presupposes that you know how to copy your course content from one shell to another. This is very simple in Canvas. And there are 3 scenarios I want to go over very quickly here with you to make sure everybody's comfortable with this. You may want to copy all of the content from your development shell or some shell into another on our same system, on the San Diego Community College District system. In some cases, I know some of you teach for other institutions as well, and you may have a course on the Canvas system, and everybody in our immediate vicinity uses Canvas. Or almost everyone. All of the other community colleges, California community colleges do anyway. And you might want to copy a course, so the content from a course on one of those systems into a course on our system, which you are certainly welcome to do. The third possibility is that you want to copy some, but not all of the content from one course shell to another. There are various scenarios where that might be necessary. So let's see how to do each of those. Let's do a complete course content copy from a dev shell or previous live shell on the SDCCD Canvas system into a new teaching shell on the SDCCD system. Very simple. We'll go back to our course here and I've been playing with. The only way to mess this up is to start in the wrong place. And the worst thing that's going to happen if you do that is that nothing's going to happen. You're not going to destroy anything. So this is a pretty safe process, because Canvas, when it copies content from one course to another, doesn't wipe out the target course, the new course that you're copying into. So if you accidentally copy something into the wrong course, you will not overwrite or destroy anything that's already in that course. You will just add to it. Now, that may leave you with a little bit of cleanup to do, but it's not going to destroy content that you already have. Canvas is exceptionally well designed in that sense. So how do we copy? How do we do a course copy from one shell to another on the SDCCD Canvas system? The key the key thing that you need to know to start is that you must start in the empty shell, in the target shell. It may or may not be empty, usually will be, but you got to start in the target shell, and you're going to pull the content from the other shell into the target shell rather than push it. So you don't start in the shell that already contains the content. You start in the shell that you want to move the content into, the target course. So this ain't it. So I need to go back to my dashboard and find a target course. I've got a little blank shell here, down here. Sorry, may want to, if you have motion sickness problems, you may want to close your eyes while I'm scrolling that fast. Sorry. All right, here I've got a sample blank Canvas shell. When you get your new teaching shells or your development shells, they are going to be blank, empty. So this is what they're going to look like. To get the content from a previous semester's live shell or a development, or more preferably a development shell into this course, we will go, as before, to the settings link in the course menu. And this time we're going to use the link that's right next to the one we used before. We're going to use import course content rather than export course content. We're then going to, we're asked, what type of content are you copying? And these are your options. We're only going to be worrying about the first two today. We're going to copy a Canvas course. That should, they don't tell you that that means copy a Canvas course that's on the same system. But that's what it means. The copy a Canvas course option then becomes, then gives you a series of blanks to fill in or selections to make. The first thing, of course, we have to tell Canvas is which course to copy from. Where's the source course? If you've got just a few courses on Canvas, at this point, you'll see a list of them, and you can pick the course shell from which you want to copy from that list. I've got so many courses on Canvas, and you will at some point too, probably, that I have to start typing the name of the course in order to give Canvas a clue as to which course I want. The course I'm going to copy from is called Learn to Screencast. So I'm going to type Learn. And there's still quite a few there. There we go. I just keep copying until I get either a small number with including the one I want or just the one I want. And I select that, and that's telling Canvas where to pull this content from. You then have to decide whether you're going to copy all of the content or just some of it. Selected some of it. We're going to show, I'm going to show this one next. So let's do all content. And you also, we'll talk about adjusting events and due dates in a little bit. I'm not going to deal with that right now. My advice generally is to leave this alone. And then you ignore this warning here, which is not going to, which is pretty meaningless. And then you're going to click import. This is a background process. Canvas does this when it gets around to it, when it's not helping students take tests and things like that. But in this case, it didn't take long to get to it. It started, you see that the status button here tells you that the course copy is running. You get a progress bar, and here it's completed. Nothing else has changed here. It's not obvious that anything has happened until you go back to your course menu and click the home button, and suddenly you see this course now has content. This course shell has content in it. So if I don't have to talk about this, I can do this in about 15 seconds. There's just no significant amount of effort required to copy content from one course to another. The course copy may take longer than that if there's a lot of content in the course, but your involvement is over as soon as you click import. You can just come back later and look to see that the course copy is completed. The other, another scenario, I should say, is that this the content that you want to copy may be on another Canvas system. So what do you do there? Well, to illustrate that, I'm going to do something you should be very careful if you ever do, which is I'm going to clear this course out so I can copy something into it again. I'm going to go to settings, and in my settings window, I've got an option labeled reset course content. That means delete the course content forever. Nobody can ever get it back. If you use this, be sure you are in the right shell. This is one of those situations where you might be really happy if you backed up your course. Because that's the only way we can recover from this if you delete the wrong course. And even then, we can't get your student records back. So having the grade book backed up is a really good idea also. That's the main reason I do that first slide in this presentation, because this is something you can do that will eliminate Canvas's reliability in keeping your content. So if I select reset course content, notice that button's in red. Be sure you're in the right course. And now it's a blank shell again. I go home. There's nothing there. All right, how do I copy content from another system? Well, the first half of that process is the exact same process that we saw for backing up the content of your course. You go to the other schools or district system. You run a course content backup, which we've already seen how to do, and you download that backup file to your local hard drive. So let's assume you've done that. How do you copy that content into a blank shell, or it doesn't have to be a blank shell, but copy that content into a shell on our system? Well, you go into the target course, as we already mentioned, you click settings, you go to import course content. Once again, it's the same process up to this point. And when you select content type, instead of selecting copy a Canvas course, you select Canvas course export package. You're now asked to choose the file, the export file that you have on your local hard drive that you've downloaded from the other district system. You choose that file. I'll need to go to my folder where I keep those things. Canvas course exports. And let's see. This one obviously has some big stuff in it. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to pick that. Oh, here's a new Quizzes Sandbox export. I'll take that one. So let's say this is the export file that I created on the other district system and downloaded to my computer. It will be an IMSCC file, which is a special type of learning management system file that it's like a zip file. It contains all of your content zipped up. And then I'll just click open. That tells Canvas which file to import from. Again, I have the option to copy all or specific content. And then I import. And it's the same process again. And the same result will occur. There it's running. And it's done. This will be a different set of content, of course, but to see the content, then I go home. And there it is. All right. Let's say I made this copy, but I forgot something, or maybe there was something in a different shell that I needed, like a quiz that I hadn't used for a while or something like that. I can copy just some of the content from a Canvas shell into any of shell in which I'm the teacher. I do that by going to settings and import course content once again. And the content type, again, assuming the course is on our same system, copy a Canvas course. I pick again, I have to specify the course from which I want to copy. And instead of selecting all content, I select specific content. And then I click import. And you say, wait a minute, you haven't selected the content yet. Yeah, I know. Well, you click import before anything else will happen. Now you'll get a select content button that will allow you to go and look into that source course, the one from which you are copying, and pick what you want to take. Here's all of the content in that course, categorized by type. Let's say there was just a module that I wanted that I forgot, hadn't used in a while. I select either I can select all the modules if I like, or I can select just one. And that's true with any of these different types of content. So I'm just going to take that one thing, and then I click again, select content. What that means is continue the copy. Why it doesn't say that, I don't know. Again, the process queues up. You are given it running, completed. We had an issue that time. Let's see if we can look. Missing links. Well, we probably better check this content to make sure that everything that we need is there. Usually these issues are unimportant, but you can't be absolutely sure about that.
So you can't do all of the selection at one time?
You could, but that would just be a complete course copy. You don't have to go in and check everything one time. You just, when you're running the copy, you just select the all content.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant when you select specific content, can you, all the different specific modules or parts of modules that you want, can you do that at one time, or do you have to do each one separately?
You have to do each type of content separately.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can copy all the modules at one time, but that doesn't then
Oh,
copy
oh, I
all the
do that.
quizzes and things like that. So,
Oh,
yeah.
oh. So
So
you can do one whole module, but if you want just things from different modules, you have to do the things from one module at one time and another module, stuff from another module separate.
well, you have to select things separately. You can do them all at one
I
time,
mean,
but you do have to select them separately. Yeah. If you choose selected specific course content.
right.
All right. And so cancel, we've done that. So now there will be another module in here. Or probably there'll be no, there'll be another module because that wasn't the same course. There it is. There's the one we just copied. So those are your 3 copy scenarios.
I have a quick question, Dave. That is, I did a different thing where I didn't start from the new Canvas module, but I started from mine and I clicked move to, like there's just a couple.
Right.
You can
Right.
do all
That's
that.
another option that you
Okay.
do have for some types of content.
Oh, I see.
Not all. This will work for all types of course content.
Oh, okay.
But there, you're right, that move to button, you can like move a quiz from one
Right.
course to from the course where the quiz is already located.
Mhm.
Good point.
I have another copying scenario.
Yes, Carolee.
I just, I'm ending the semester from hell where I was teaching at UCSD. And then right at the beginning of the semester, I picked up a class at City and at Grossmont.
Yeah.
And the class at City and Grossmont had a lot of overlap in it. And City was a week before Grossmont. So I kept writing quizzes for City that I wanted to get over to my Grossmont Canvas page, but it was in a different district. So I'm just going to give this tip to others. At Grossmont, so the week at the place where I kept wanting to import into, right, from City, I had a dummy Canvas shell
Yeah.
that every 2 weeks, I just kept exporting my City class to my hard drive and then importing it in my Grossmont
Right.
class. But that red warning thing that comes up, this is why I had to get the dummy class. You can't just keep importing into your current class.
You'll get multiple
you-
copies
If
of.
you know, if you import twice from the same place, it overrides everything you've got there and just puts what you're importing in.
Yeah, that in that unusual situation, you're right. And that's something you could use, for instance, a development shell for.
Yeah,
And
that's what I
always
did.
welcome to
I had a
have it.
development shell that I just kept importing up my whole city class right into the shell. And then I could go from there to my other Grossmont.
You
class.
got it, indeed. And
Yeah.
avoided the potential pitfalls. Okay, we have been seeing this option in these course copy processes where Canvas is offering to update your availability dates and due dates automatically. Because when you're if you're copying from a development shell that perhaps you first created a few semesters ago, or if you're copying from last semester's live shell, when you copy this content over, your assessments, your quizzes, your homework assignments, your discussions, graded discussions, are going to have, and probably going to have, due dates and maybe availability dates associated with them. And those dates are going to copy forward as the old dates. You can have Canvas try to adjust those automatically. Sorry. It can do that, but it's almost certainly you're going to end up with a situation you're going to have to clean up manually anyway.
Yeah.
So Paley, yes, I will. You're probably going to have to do that automatically. So my general practice is not to adjust events and due dates in the course copy, but to go in manually later and fix them, because I'm almost certainly going to have to do that anyway. The way that Canvas will try is to, you give it the beginning and the ending date of the course from which you are copying, and then you give it the beginning and ending date of the course shell to which you are copying, and it will try its best to move everything forward by that number of days and minutes. Maybe someday one of you will have that work for you. I've never tried. It's never worked very well for me in tests I've tried. So there is a way to do this efficiently, if manually, to update your due dates and availability dates in your new course after you have done the course copy. You do that by going into the course copy, which we've just made, go into the new course, the one you've just copied into, and you will go to the assignments tool, since the due dates are primarily associated or mainly associated with assessments or assignments. And in the upper right-hand corner of the assignments page in Canvas is this double secret menu. I guess they meant it to me because they didn't label it. If you mouse over it and hold it long enough, it shows up as assignment settings. But even that's not too helpful. You just kind of have to know this. If you click on that menu, you get an option to edit assignment dates. And this allows you to edit those dates for all assignments on one page. And I need to, yeah. This one I have to, sorry, I know that some of that text is a little blurry and small, but I had to do that in order to show you the entire page. So here are all, on the left column here are all of your assessments. And then you have the due dates and availability dates that were in the development shell. or in the old live shell. And you just go through and you can click on the little calendar icons and you can fix them very quickly. Indeed, if you have a bunch that are the same, you can copy paste. And this will probably save you an hour or more at the beginning of each semester or each course, in not having to go into each assignment and change the due dates and availability dates assignment by assignment.
Excuse me, Dave.
Yes.
Can we do that by module? Like in my case, let's say module 1 is, let's say
It's
the
going to
first.
show them all. It's going to show them all to you.
Okay.
You have to do them all. So you have to know where the assignments are. That's right. That's the hard part. Is remember, well, when was that assignment supposed to be due?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's going to show them all at one time. And there's no way to, you can select by date range, but not by module or type or anything like that. And this, of course, will include all of your homework assignments, all of your quizzes, and all of your graded discussions, any assessment in Canvas. All righty, that's a handy thing to know. And Canvas hasn't had that indefinitely. I think it's been there for about 2 years now, that feature. So if you haven't used Canvas in a while, that might be brand new to you. We just saw that. Course merges are things that you can create if you wish. If you have multiple sections of the same course in the same semester, like maybe you teach English, 2 sections of English 101 in the same semester, you don't have to manage a separate Canvas shell for each. You can request that the 2 CRNs be merged into a single, the enrollments for the 2 CRNs can be merged into a single shell so that you only have one shell to manage. This is something that you can request from Canvas support, the same folks you might ask for development shells. You just go into the Canvas help menu in the global access menu, and you'll have a chat option or a telephone option. The chat option is sometimes a little faster, but you can't depend on that. But they are both available 24/7, 365. So you can do this at any time. Yes.
Does this put all the students from both courses
In the same shell.
Okay, so that I can see that there could be some challenges,
Yeah,
like,
There are some challenges with this, but it's been okayed. It passes FERPA muster and so on. So people do this all the time. So it can be done. And
I thought
it
that
is
sounded
legal.
easy, but yeah. I haven't dared go there yet, but okay, thank you.
You won't get into trouble by trying it.
Well, I wasn't sure what problems I might have. If I want to send an announcement to one class and not the other, does that mean?
That gets, but the students will be in different virtual sections inside the shell. So there is a way to direct communication, things like that, to one group of students and not to the other, and so on. I can't go into detail about that right now, but I'd be happy to cover that in another venue.
Very, very helpful. Thank you.
You bet. Now, one thing, we're getting very near the end here, thank goodness. And I hope you'll bear with me for a minute here. We're going to go a little over an hour, but I really love the questions. So
Just real quick, when you publish, you have to have material in there before you can publish?
no,
Oh, okay. Just
it's
wondered.
not necessarily. Your students may wonder why you published it, but there's no technical reason you can't publish a course
Okay.
before
Uh-huh.
you finish it. Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed, there's one situation where you might want to do that. I'll get to that in a moment. But please don't forget to publish your course on the,
I didn't know that at the beginning, a couple of years ago.
you're by no means alone. That's one of the reasons we do this session, because the courses are not published automatically. There's no way in Canvas to do that automatically. So we have to publish them when we're ready. Hopefully by early in the morning on the first day of the term for that class. You don't have to publish it if the class doesn't begin until the middle of the term or something like that. You wouldn't publish it until like maybe the night before it was supposed to start. But if you don't, of course, the next morning the students won't be able to get into it and everybody gets phone calls. So we would very much appreciate that. I know from time to time we all forget. So it's happened to all of us. Don't worry about that. But it will make life simpler for everyone if you do that, especially for you. There is a publish button on the home screen in the upper right-hand corner, and you just publish the course. That changes green, and now your students can get into it. If it's after the first day of the term. If you publish it before the first day of the term, the students can't quite really get into it unless they really try hard. They can get to certain parts of the course if they really work at it. And we've had students do that. So it's a good idea not to publish the course until until the night before. But unless you don't care that students can access some of the material early. You can always unpublish a course if no student has submitted an assignment in the course. Once there's a grade or a submission in the grade book, you can't unpublish. But if you publish it inadvertently, or if you publish it temporarily for a good reason and need to unpublish it, you can, as long as nobody's submitted anything in the course. The one reason you might want to publish a course early and temporarily is if you want to communicate with your students through Canvas. Your students will be enrolled in the Canvas shell well before the beginning of the term. The enrollments start occurring as soon as the students start registering. So as soon as that happens, as soon as registration begins, students will begin appearing in your roster and your gradebook on Canvas. They will not be able to, if the course is not published, of course, they not only will they not be able to access it, they won't even see it on their dashboards yet. But they'll be in there. If you want to communicate with these students conveniently before the beginning of the term and before you're ready to actually have them working in the course, you can publish the course for a few minutes or maybe just a few seconds. Go to the inbox tool and send them a Canvas message. And if they have not altered their notification settings in Canvas, which they probably haven't, they will get that Canvas message as an email in their personal email account. And this is a way to communicate with them before the beginning of the term that's a lot more convenient than the tool built into the portal in PeopleSoft, or so we're told. So this is an option you have in Canvas to use it as a communication tool even before the beginning of the term, because the Canvas messaging tool is really easy to use. There is some possibility that some students might not get that message in their email because they may have changed their notification settings to disable the forwarding of Canvas messages to their personal email, but it's unlikely. I'd say 95% plus probability that the students will receive this email. So that's a useful thing you can do with Canvas before the beginning of the term. And then you'd probably unpublish the course right after you sent the message, so that students didn't access it before you were ready. But you might not. You might not care if students have early access to your Canvas shell. Maybe you want them to, so they have a leg up on what's going on. They can start viewing your course content and so on, if they're so inclined, before the beginning of the official beginning of the class. You have this option as an instructor to choose to do this if you wish. It took some years for us to get permission to do this. Student services used to pitch a fit when we suggested this, but now it's permissible, and we give you that capability as an instructor. What you have to do in order to allow students into a course early, or perhaps you want students to be able to work past the end of the nominal end of the semester. They're finishing up and you want them to have access to your course after the official end date of the course. Again, this is up to you. That is your prerogative. You're certainly not obligated to do that or pressured to do that in any way. We've had so many people ask for this that we've made it possible, and we've gotten permission to make it possible. And there are times when I've used this myself, and it's been very handy. All you have to do is change the start and or the end dates of the course. And those are available to you in the settings page of your course shell. You just go to settings and scroll down, and you'll find a start and an end block, or a start and an end box. And you can set the start and end dates to anything you want. And this will expand the period over which the students will be able to access the course. And again, it's your prerogative.
Dave, does that mean if you say that the course ends on May 26 or May 27, the day after, they cannot get any materials out of that course shell any longer?
Not exactly. By default, when the end date of the course passes, the student access to the course is set to read only. So they can view the content and they can look at their grades, which is an obvious need, because that's probably where they're going to first see their grade, assuming you put your grades into Canvas. And they view it, but they can't submit anything.
Can they download anything off of it?
If you made it possible for them to download content, yes, that would be read. They can view and download content if you've given them that capability. As long as they have access to the course, yes.
But that's what but if you said you wanted to end access, say a week after the course ends, at whatever date.
Right.
Does that mean because I encourage them to download handouts and such, but if they haven't, can they go in there and still download it?
Yes, they can.
Okay. So they actually have access to it
indefinitely. Unless there is an option you can change to prevent that. But by default, they'll have access to the course shell indefinitely, so that they can go back and study or review something when they need to.
And that means getting assignments too. They could they could look at assignments again.
Absolutely.
And pass it along to other students. Okay.
But they could do that during the semester too.
Of course they can. Yeah. Okay, that's helpful. Thanks.
Good questions. Oh, all right. So I noticed some questions going by in the chat tool that I had to defer. So let me take a look and see if any of those Okay, what if you may not have access to Canvas at some point in the future? Can you download and save content like quizzes and things like that? Good question. Because to use a course backup or a course export in the future, you'd have to have a Canvas system onto which you could upload that content.
Right.
And if you shouldn't have that, how can you get it? You can print out your quizzes. That might be the safest thing to do.
Can you print a whole test bank?
Can you print a test bank? That's a
I
good
don't
one.
think you can.
I don't
I
know.
have not found out how. So if you know, that would be.
Let me think about that and think of
Or
the
can
best
you-
way
can
to
you
handle
print
that situation.
If you can't print a test bank, can you print a whole quiz? And could
Yes.
you make the quiz just every single question that's on the test bank?
Yes, you could.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I can print a quiz under quizzes. I could find that.
And there are a number of ways to do that. I'll just mention that your students can do that too, if they're very clever and savvy about something called a Chrome extension. There's a little program that can be loaded into the Chrome web browser that will allow students to print a quiz. If the quiz is published, they can print it.
Ah,
Interesting thing to know, isn't it?
yeah, that's sick.
Something to think about. We occasionally do a seminar on Chrome extensions you might want to know about.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because very few students would know about this, but some of the more technically oriented and energetic ones might. As a matter of fact, we found out about them because a student warned a professor that they were able to do something
Oh,
that the
really?
professor didn't think they could do. And the professor asked us about it. And we went and looked and said, son of a gun.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you were to go into one of your courses and go to a quiz, can you just print it?
As a teacher, let's see. Can you do that without that extension? Let's go look. I don't recall. Let's pick one at random here.
You'd have to preview it.
Probably have to preview it. I'm
And
just
could you print that?
the options here. But I'm not sure that there's also a print button there. Okay, there we go. And does Canvas allow us to just print this page and we get everything? Let's find out. Control P, of course, is the print command, or Command P on the Mac. And yep, looks like it will work.
Wow, I didn't know you could do that.
You can do that with almost any Windows or Mac application.
So you just were writing the quiz and you hit Control P
I
and
previewed the quiz.
my head is exploding. It's figuratively.
Oh God. Now I feel guilty.
I love this. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, that's an operating system feature. In Windows and in Mac, you can print whatever file you have up on the screen. Sometimes it just depends on the nature of the website. If you're printing a website,
Yeah, right. I
But
wonder if you did the same while you.
work. Sometimes it won't. That's why I didn't want to be. But now I could, for instance, save this as a PDF and click save. And now I have.
Okay. But that's better than what I thought I was going to be able to do.
Okay.
Save as PDF. How did you get there?
Just through the print dialog.
Control P and I gave it to you.
And it's one of your default
Okay.
destinations.
Okay.
in Windows. I think that's true on the Mac as well.
Okay.
And
Oh, thank you.
Can you import and the your whole homepage, everything on your homepage?
you mean credit?
No, I'm sorry, just import from
Oh.
your,
Well, yeah, you could go to the Pages tool in the course and view all pages and look for the page labeled or the page, labeled front page.
oh,
And then you can,
that's in the new one, right?
and I can send it to another course. Can I get an HTML file? That I'm not sure. If I send to, I'm just sending it to someone else, another instructor.
Want to import it from my,
Copy to, I can copy to another course.
hmm,
How can I get an importable copy of that? Oh, I know what I could do. I could, no, I can't do that. I can do that on an import, but I can't select individual content on an export unless it's a quiz. If I want to, that's a good question. How would I get I can easily copy a page from one course to another using the select specific content option in the course copy. But how would I get a page as an HTML file that I could then take to another system, maybe not even Canvas, whatever?
well, I just want my front page to be what my home page is now. I want my front page in the new class to be my home page in my present class.
Oh, okay. If you run the course copy, that flag, that selection will copy over. And you should have the same homepage in the copy as you do in the original. That should happen automatically. If you want to change your
How do I
mind,
make it a front page? It's not automatic, it seems.
no, not initially, but if I have like this is remember I copied this content
Yeah,
from another, and this was my homepage in the other shell.
okay.
And it just came over as the homepage automatically. That is automatic. But the initial process of selecting the homepage is not automatic.
Right,
You have to go to pages. You have to look at all your pages. You have to pick the page that you want to be your
front
homepage
page.
by going out to the right, selecting the context menu here and say use as front page.
Oh, okay.
And that will move that highlight from one file to another. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to delete this anyway. It doesn't matter. So now that I'll have a different homepage. But you also, if you want a selected page to be the course entry point, the first thing
Right.
you or the students see when they enter the course, you have to go to Home and select Choose Homepage. And there,
Oh, I see.
this should really say, it shouldn't say choose homepage. It should say choose entry point, because not all these options are pages. Indeed, most of them are not. I mean, you can have the first thing the students see be the course activity stream, which is just an event stream, tells them what's been happening in the course. Or they can see their course modules right off the bat, or the assignments list, or the syllabus tool.
Well, I like it as the front page is.
I do. Yeah, this is by far the most common choice.
Because I put my video on there.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
But the default for a new shell is to have the course modules be the first thing that shows up.
I see. Mhm.
So you have to change this to pages, front page, and then save it. And then, so it's a two-step process. You select the Canvas page that you want to be the first thing the students see, and then you have to go and tell Canvas to use that page as the entry point rather than these other 4 options.
Okay, thanks. Mhm.
And I won't tell you how long it took me to figure that out the first time I went into it. Let's just say I expanded my vocabulary that day, which was already fairly extensive in that particular part of my lexicon. Okay. How long do students, we talked about how long students have access and what the nature of the access is.
Dave, I'm going to
Yes.
take off. I want to say thank you for everything.
My pleasure. I hope you got all your questions answered.
I did. You've helped me so much over the last.
Everybody
few
else will
years.
keep answering questions. But there was a sort of an implication there in one of those questions about how long do students have access? And that's, what if I don't want them to have indefinite access to my course? What do I have to do? Well, you go in and you check this option on the settings page. Go to settings in the course menu and scroll down to just below the start and end dates. And there's an option to restrict students from viewing the course after course end date. If you don't want students to be able to get into the course at all, you can check that. And then they will no longer have access, period. It will disappear from their dashboards. Don't do that before please don't do that before they've had a chance to view their grades. But after that, if you don't want to have that course open and available to them because you've got some content in there that you don't want to have available to somebody who's not currently taking the course indefinitely, you can at any time go in and check that block, and that will shut off access completely shut off access after the end date. So there is a way you can control that. You have options about how long students can access the course, but the course will remain on the system indefinitely. Every course we have ever offered at the district, course shell that we've ever used, is still on the system. That's the way Canvas works. As far as I know, there's no way to remove them. We certainly don't have any way to request that older courses be removed. So you can be confident that that course will remain on the system as long as we still use Canvas. And we certainly have no plans to use anything else, any other learning management system. So, and we've had situations where we've had to go back into course backups from 10 years ago and pull data out, and involved a lawsuit. We were accused of doing something we didn't do. And lucky for us, we had the proof that we didn't do it. And we had to produce that proof in a meeting with a lawyer. And that was one of the more satisfying moments I've ever had as a professional, when we handed the proof to the lawyer. The lawyer looked at his client and they just moved on. How does one find help? That was the Canvas help button, which is at the bottom of the global access menu, this gray bar on every page in Canvas.
Yeah, I finally found it.
Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure, because that's a very important question. The very first thing we try to teach about Canvas is how to find the help button. Because if you can find that, you can probably figure out everything else. There's the current Canvas faculty helpline. We are scheduled to have that phone help for at least another year. The state has stopped paying for that. We have to pay for that through the district. But whoa, what was that? Okay. Everybody still there?
Yeah.
Oh God, my screens all went black. I don't know what happened. I think I rolled over a cord here. Oh, I did. I kicked a cord. Woo! Sorry about that. Fortunately, I managed not to exercise my vocabulary there. That would have been embarrassing, especially on a recording, right? Oh, I don't like that. Okay.
I have a couple of questions.
Good.
So one of them is usually you were saying that also we can copy our new one of the courses into a development shell and
Yes,
then use it in the future, and we have to adjust the dates manually.
I would
But,
recommend it. Yeah.
what was my question about that? Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Believe me, I know the feeling.
Okay, where I was going with it. Well, anyway, let me just go back to the other question.
Remember, you can always email me.
Okay, I try what you told me about the recovering the student that I just dropped, and he's not letting me. So
He's not showing up when you select those options.
no.
Oh, boy. It's possible that that student has had some sort of hold put on on their account, which is preventing them from showing back up in Canvas. So you may have to check with admissions on that.
With admissions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the registrar at the college, your institution.
Okay. Okay. Then I remember the first question. Okay.
If they'd just been dropped, they should have shown up when you selected those two options.
Yeah, I dropped her like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Mm,
There may be more, there must be more going on there.
okay.
Let me think. I'm trying to think of how to get you to the right person on that. Who would, because I don't have access to PeopleSoft anymore. Actually, I retired before PeopleSoft came in.
Okay.
I was on the committee that selected PeopleSoft. I'm not going to tell you how I voted, but and then I retired, left everybody else holding the bag. I'm sorry, but I don't have access to it. But let me. I can put an email address in the chat tool here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the person who took my place at Online Learning Pathways, Chris
Okay.
Rogers.
Okay.
Email him and let him know that you're having that problem. And he should be able to go into PeopleSoft and look and see what's going on.
Okay. And the question about the other module is when I copy one of the teaching modules into a development shell, but then if I'm using it and editing it, will I, should I delete the one that is in development shell and copy the one I edited in case for the future I want to use it with the new additions, or is there like an easy way to do that?
No, you can, if you want to, delete the old module in the target shell, but you shouldn't have to. You just end up with two modules of the same name, and you could hide one of them or whatever and just not show it to students.
Okay.
Okay, it's up to you. You could, but wouldn't have to.
Sounds good. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your help.
You're certainly welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's see. Okay, and the last question I see in the chat that I haven't addressed already is how did I put myself down in the lower right-hand corner while I'm showing you these pages? That involves the use of a program called, I'm pulling it up, getting it, the little glitch I had a minute ago on my computer caused that to vanish. What's going on here? Well, I can just pull that down and show you from here. And let me share something. I will use my Zoom screen share on this one because that's the only way I have to show you this. I'm using a program called Open Broadcaster Studio. It is, trying to get that out of the way. So, oops. Yeah, there we go. this is what I'm feeding. What you see here in this square is what I'm feeding to Zoom as a video source, like a camera. OBS, or Open Broadcaster Studio, allows me to basically do what the network crew does in the network trailer at Monday Night Football. They've got a bunch of different video sources that they can switch between. So one time you'll see the field from one side, then you'll see an end zone shot, things like that. Or they can combine those shots together. So maybe you'll see the sportscasters over top of the field or something like that. And this functionality is built into this free software. OBS is free. It runs on both PCs and Macs, and is takes a little setting up. If you have somebody showing you how to use it, it takes a couple hours to set it up the first time. And after that, you can do video magic of all sorts. For instance, I can put myself, that picture behind me is not just a virtual background. You just saw that, you may have seen a pickup truck just go by behind me. That's a live shot out the back window of my house. And I can key myself over top of that. Or I can put myself somewhere where I haven't been for a couple of months. That's a video that I shot at the source of the Missouri River not too long ago. Or in Yellowstone National Park. Or I can show you what it looked like here in East Hope, Idaho on the 17th of April. Not exactly San Diego. I can just put all sorts of stuff on the screen at the same time. This is my document camera. And there's my shot out back, and here's me, and here's a shared screen. So I can do this sort of video magic using OBS. There is a feature built into Zoom itself that will allow you to put yourself over top of a PowerPoint slide or a PowerPoint presentation and flip from slide to slide to slide. And that's much simpler than using OBS. But if you want to just be able to put yourself anywhere and do all of this fun stuff, you have to download and install OBS on the computer that you use to run your Zoom sessions. You configure OBS, and then you tell Zoom, and let me change the screen share here. I'll stop it, and I'll share my Zoom screen with you. Make sure I get the right one here. There we go. Okay, this is my Zoom screen. And all I have to do to pull the output from OBS into Zoom is to select OBS, the so-called OBS virtual camera, as the video source I'm using in Zoom. So that's the short answer to that question. If you want,
Dave, since I'm the only one here, I'm going to say the long answer to that question is a completely different Flex course.
exactly. That was exactly what I was about to say. We offer that course, but we do have available a, let's see, let me get rid of some of this junk. There we go. Now that's just me. And this page. If I go to sdccdolvid.org, which is our open on demand tutorial site. And just look at the training, the featured training on here, and flip through a few of them. We have a course on using Open Broadcaster Studio. Actually, it's a series of tutorials that will show you how to install it, configure it, use a green screen with it. I'm also sitting in front of a green screen here. And you don't have to do that to use OBS. And how to send the output to Zoom, and how to record from OBS if you wish. Those are all, and it's really not difficult. It takes a little tinkering. But when I do this seminar, I just wipe OBS from my computer and reinstall it and reconfigure it from scratch. And I can do that in under 2 hours while explaining it. Doing it without explaining it, if I've done it once before, I can do it in half an hour. So it's not an impossible task, but it does require a certain degree of commitment, but no cost, because the software is free.
Got it. And I'm not the one who asked that question.
I wasn't sure whether you were or not. I just wanted to get that in the recording so that person
Yeah.
can come back and watch it later. But do
that
you
makes-
have a question for me that you'd like to ask?
I don't. You, in all honesty, gave us some really excellent information and things that
Thank
will be helpful. Some of it, or the significant chunk of it, was just what's the word? It was revisiting.
You, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And some of it was brand new. And
Well, that's good to hear.
while the seminar was going, I was able to request shells and work with
All right.
somebody in chat
Excellent.
and discover that, at least on Firefox, I can't speak for another browser, the key to making the invitation and the new shells show up is to reload
Yeah, you got to reload
the
the
window.
That's true in Chrome as well.
Yeah. So Danielle D, who was helping me on the chat, was, I think, generally reminded that that is the case. And I'm way ahead now.
Outstanding. And it's wonderful that you were able to do that while while distracted and so on. How long did,
Yes.
just curiosity, how long did it take them to respond?
Less than a minute.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can take longer at the beginning of a term.
Yeah. And it takes
Like a week before.
it takes a lot less time once one knows where help is. Because of course I'm doing a few other things, I missed seeing where you went with the mouse to select help. And once I found the help, it was extremely straightforward.
Right. Yeah. And when we do basic Canvas tutorial or sessions, that's one of the first things we show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once you know how to do that, you can probably, given enough effort and enough time, you can probably figure out everything I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, it's just hiding down there amid some, I'm sure, very important tools I almost never use.
I was going to say this, we see this so often that
Yeah.
it just becomes a part of the background. We don't think about it when we actually need it, but these are system level tools that is not
Right.
associated with any particular course. So no matter where you go in Canvas, you still have this
Right.
over here to the left, but then we just kind of lose awareness of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The thing I wish Canvas didn't do was, once I go to the inbox,
mhm.
it pulls me out of the course.
It does.
And that's pretty annoying. Instead of having I don't know, maybe something else pop up that has the inbox, or somehow it
Yeah,
adds
if the
another.
inbox would pop up in a new tab so that you could just go back to the
Yeah,
original tab, it would be useful. I empathize.
yeah,
Because the inbox, of course, allows you to access communication and communicate in any of your courses.
right.
And it would be nice if at least the course, like if you go over here and go to send a message, it would be nice if it selected the course you were most recently in by default, and yet allowed you to select another course. But it doesn't do that. You have to start from scratch. Oh, God, which course was I in? Which one did I want to send a message to? You have to find it. And if you have as many courses in your list as I do, that can take a while.
I believe me, I have 2 courses and that's plenty. I actually also teach for Woodbury and they use Moodle, which
Right.
is a very different animal. There are certainly commonalities because they're learning systems, but I've found in the last few years that Canvas allows me to do just so many more things. I would say intuitively, and Moodle is simple, so they both have their strengths.
They do. And Moodle, of course, usually is, or at least can be, free. It's open source.
Mm-hmm.
So you see it, a lot of smaller organizations use it because they
Yeah.
don't have the financial resources it takes to pay for
Yeah.
something like Canvas.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to perhaps go outside and see if San Diego's weather is still overcast and let you get on with your life.
Yeah, my pleasure. I am so glad you had some good questions there, and I hope I'll see you again soon.
Okay. I'll look forward to it.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.